thing becomes automatic.
Okay, but maybe I don't need to record just yet, right? Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Pleiadian Gatherings, Saturday's group. I am stepping in for Soma while she takes a much needed break. So she has made me her alternate host for a few weekends. She'll be returning again on March 1st to do her weekend events. And so today we have with us Joe Vertino and Lena Scher and Dennis Mulcahy. Thank you for joining. I imagine others will come later, as usually happens. And so today, maybe we'll start by asking everybody what's on your minds uh, for today or for this week. Lena, do you want to start?
Hi, I didn't supposed to be today. I just want to jump and say hi,
Oh, okay.
and I'll be in another time. Just want to say I'm
Oh,
here with you guys in my
okay.
mind. All right.
Okay. All right,
All right.
Lena, good to
Thanks.
see you. All right, have a good Valentine's Day.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, Joe, what's on your mind this week?
About this big
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Sorry, I just have this. I was just trying to do something on my phone, posted Instagram or something. Yeah, thank you for asking. I haven't been here in a while, but yeah, I always say, well, this is a cool thing to say. I always people that I know have I'm very proud of this fact. They say the most catching phrase that I have is angel blessings. And I'll
Mhm.
say that at the beginning or the end of things, or, very pronounced. People can hear what I'm saying and, easy to look in my eyes and stuff. And so I guess in context of that saying that basically, angels, I guess, I think of angels are always at work. Like the point of angels' existence is to do work, for God. And so for me, I'm in that place of doing my best, to get out and be a positive influence and, for everybody. And I only have two legs. I don't even have a car. And, basically, but thank God I have the gift of writing and speaking and the internet. And so that's where I'm at. But it can be, I don't know, really hoping that it starts to kind of catch on to people and, maybe getting some help from other people and collaboration and everything. But that's where I'm at, right now and still doing therapy and stuff. So I have that support going on, emotionally and everything. But yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And what about you, Mr. Mulcahy? What's going on? What are you thinking about? What do you want to talk about?
Hi.
Hi.
Well, this week I have taken a break from my day-to-day job of being a home carer, and I'm at home with my own dad and giving him some uh, care, which my sister is normally doing, but she's giving herself a break. So well done her. And I don't have any burning issues. I'm sure some things might come up that would be interesting to discuss. But
Okay.
well done you for taking on that seat there this evening.
Well, she asked me, I couldn't say no.
Oh, you can. I'll teach you.
Well, it's a new adventure. Maybe that's good for me.
Very
Um,
good.
yeah. So, we are recording everybody, and Soma asked me to record, even though there's no channeling involved. So you know the drill. If you don't want to be seen whenever if she posts it, please turn off your cameras.
Grand,
I'm
grand.
going to mute you, Dennis, unless you want to do that yourself.
I'll do it here.
Okay, thank you. And so nobody's talking about the Epstein files. That's wonderful. I have actually, I have discovered a document, and in it is a very powerful, like affirmation of one's light and one's sovereignty. And I thought that this Valentine's Day would be a very good time to share that message. It comes in a very interesting form. Do you guys want to see it on the screen, or do you just want me to read from it?
I think to read from it is fine. Whatever you wish.
Okay, I think I will read from it. I wonder how I can look at that and look at you at the same time. Let me see. All right, there's that. Let me find it. Let me see. Where would it be? Here it is. Okay, I cannot see you guys while I'm reading this. But this is a document from 2010. It's called the Universal Postal Treaty for the Americas. And I don't know how I missed this. It was sent to me last September. And I may not have read it because the whole thing is 36 pages. But the opening is most profound and powerful, and I think everybody, regardless of whether you're in the Americas or not, should hear this, the following message. So I'm assuming it was written, I believe it was written by James Thomas McBride, who was the postmaster at the time. And this would be the postmaster for the United States of America, unincorporated and not the U.S. Foreign service provider occupying the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. So there is a difference there. So here is the preamble. We have come forth from the power to be the eternal mystery of its presence. We are the beginning and the end, the origin and dissolution, the geometry of divinity, and we have remained true to this eternal moment in the sun. We are the silence that is unfathomable, and the spark whose voice is the flame of freedom. We have been called forth to return the power, and we have been chosen as we have chosen ourselves to be, to become that which we have forever been. Our essence is identical to the source of its essence, for there was never a time when we were not, nor shall there ever be a time when we shall cease to be. We are they who have nurtured the sacred fire of illumination, forging our souls into the image of God on earth. We are they who have embraced the ordeal of our descent into matter and have ascended the 33 steps of the spinal staircase to experience the rapture of the quickening. We are they who have faced the great magnification of the all to ascend the ineffable throne of mind and wield the power of self. Our word is truth, and we are its issue. Our word is law, and we are self-governing. Our word is light, and we are the infinite beacon of the eternal I Am. We bear the light of our ascension and the wisdom of our journey into matter. Thus do we reject the burdens of tyranny by exposing them as the fruits of ignorance. We have drunk deeply from the ancient font. We know who we are, and this knowledge is our purpose. Our sword is flaming and two-edged, and its name is awakening. The mind of creation is manifest in our eye, and its will in our deeds. We are the royal seed of the source, precisely because we are its pure light shining true upon this earth. Our spirits have been forged in this crucible of sorrow, therefore our joy is boundless, and thus we are recognized by those who have eyes to see. In this eternal moment and through this treaty, we do declare I am, individual and sovereign beings in continual communion with the quintessence of creation. We do hereby claim the right to listen to the voice of God within and to freely choose those with whom we will engage in contract. So here now, we claim our inheritance, spiritual sovereignty. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with others, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which they may choose to aspire, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold that no truths are self-evident, but must have their usefulness demonstrated, that all people are created with equal freedom from tyranny, but frequently accept domination or obedience to a legal code to a greater or lesser degree from person to person, that people are endowed with only what rights they have chosen to be endowed with through wisdom or common folly, for wealth or illth, that people can secure for themselves, with understanding of their own unique situations, those rights which best allow them to live in peace and fruitful harmony with nature and all her various species, that whenever any person, government, or other entity not fully recognizing the unique situation of each individual becomes in any way oppressive or destructive, people may choose to ignore, alter, abolish, or separate themselves from such an institution and to live in peace and harmony. That man can choose to resolve any conflict through intelligence, with adequate communication and a full understanding of each and every point of view involved by each and every person involved. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, but only after calm consideration of the true will and mutual goals of all those individuals involved. All experience has shown that people are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpation evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism or dogma not chosen by the individual concerned, it is their right, it is their duty to themselves and their Creator to throw off such a government and to accept responsibility, each for their own actions and future security. And I will pause there and return to the meeting. Let's see if I can do that. Huh. Where is everybody? Maybe here. Ah, there's everybody. Hi, Julia.
Hi,
Hi,
guys.
Francesca. We lost Dennis. Okay, I was just reading from the Universal Postal Treaty of 2010 for the Americas, and I was reading from that because I found it to be a very powerful affirmation of our purpose and our origin and our connection to Creator. And I'm talking about this because of our previous references to our sovereignty, our innate sovereignty, but also how one of the things that I want to discuss a little bit here today is how to claim your sovereignty, because there is no question that on this earth plane it has been hammered away at and eviscerated and clouded, and they try to steal everything from us, those that act in the authority of a government. So it's a little bit in question how much of our sovereignty do we still retain and manifest in our day-to-day lives. Anyway, I will pause there
Hello,
just
Tommy.
for... Hi, Seth. Welcome.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Hello. Yeah, I lost track of time, and nice to see you all. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So Joe, there's Dennis is back. Good. So Joe, you got to hear the preamble, and Dennis got to hear the preamble. And I wonder if either of you want to tell me how you reacted to that, how it felt, any observations as you listened to that, what I thought was a very beautiful writing.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, it's serious, government language and red letters well, I guess that's kind of crossing a boundary. I was gonna say red letters in the Bible, but serious language, and in that way, sovereignty and empowerment, and uh I even want to say like disdain for oppression, is very serious stuff, of course, and being alive, it kind of implies that we're meant to live fully, in a fullness of life. And yeah, so for me, I mean, I second the motion of the seriousness in it, and I mean, I guess the whole point of it, I guess, is one is to say it's and if I'm shading a little bit off here and there, forgive me, but getting the going with the energy, the feeling of it, and yeah, definitely, I would say, the word I like I mentioned already is empowerment, and in that way that oh yeah, that we uh allowing ourselves to come to terms with life and who we are and what we are, and the who we are sometimes takes time, to find out. But definitely that we're here, and that there's certain it's good to have clarity, and support on, I guess, how much we matter. That's what I got from it, in that way. And I know there was a lot of details in there, and it could be all kinds of different things people have to say about an article like that. But yeah, thanks for reading.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Dennis, do you have any observations you'd like to share as you listened?
Yeah, thank you for reading that. That was beautiful. You read it well also.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you. Well, I thought it
yeah,
was a very powerful affirmation of the I am. I am the light, I am the truth, I am the love.
yeah.
What-
I
Yeah,
like it, and it's interesting how these affirmations of truth can be found in so many different sources.
hmm
It's not just spiritual, but it can be political, it can be scientific or biological, or there the truth is there all about us, as much as some forces might try to hide it. So there is someone presenting it well, yeah.
Indeed, it is around us. The context of that document is, of course, reclaiming the Republican form of government that we have here in the United States, but also he wasn't speaking just to the Americans in the United States, but rather to all people everywhere. However, we have been reconstructing the American government for quite some time. This document is from 2010, and I never understood until today the importance of the postal union. At first, when this country was established in the 1775, the postal union was the seat of the government. And that for me was like a huge revelation. And I don't know, I'm only interpolating here, but I think the reason the postal union is the seat of the government is because this is where all communications enter and depart. And communications can be about trade, which is very important to the survival of the country. Communications can be about treaties after conflict, or treaties about having to do with commerce and trade, and how the nations will interact. Anyway, so I assume that's why the postal union was the seat of the government. And what has become of governments worldwide is that they no longer are serving their original purpose. Their purpose is merely to protect the people and to protect their assets. And that's primarily the limit, really, of any government. Here in this country, the people are the government. They're meant to be the government, and they haven't been. And so, in order to reconstruct our intended government of the people and by the people and for the people, it's been necessary to declare our sovereignty, to declare what jurisdiction we are in, meaning we are born of the land, on the land, and we stand on the land. And nobody can traffic us out to sea in their man-made jurisdictions, which serve trade and commerce and business. And that's the other part that we don't really talk about very much, is that the governments of the world became corporations, and we're not governed anymore by really politicians. We're governed by boards of directors of companies, and they have imposed on us commercial laws, basically statutes and codes and mandates, and I don't even remember all of the different things, but they're like, there are some 850 million, I think, man-made laws being imposed wrongfully on Americans. And I imagine that it's very similar everywhere else, because we are living in a system of Babylonian debt slavery. And their primary focus is making money off of our energy, off of our thoughts, off of our creative product, off of our goods and services, and this is what they've been doing. And that is, if you didn't consciously enter into any kind of agreement with someone that they could benefit off of your person and your product, then that is the foremost reason why you would be wise to publicly declare your sovereignty, not just declare privately between you and your God, or I don't know in what other context you might do that, privately or in church, whatever, or wherever you worship, you might do it. But this needs to be done publicly, actually, to declare one's sovereignty before they who created their corporate system will begin to honor your true standing. It is very difficult to get them, when I say them, capital T, capital H, capital E, capital M, it's very difficult to get them to honor your sovereignty. You must start with paperwork, because that is, at the moment, the system we're living in. And you have to, the pen is mightier than the sword, for example. So you have to be able to write your, I don't want to call it defense, but declare your standing is basically what you have to do. It's not just enough to say out loud, I am sovereign, and to recognize your true power and your true light. It has to be done publicly in order to sever the contracts, the unconscionable contracts that we had no awareness we were ever entered into. As many of them began as we were infants. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to ask anybody what thoughts you have on your mind that you want to share. Anybody can do so in any order. I don't need to go around the room necessarily. Any thoughts, anyone? Anything else you'd like to talk about? It's a big deal, this sovereignty, declaring your sovereignty and defending it. It's like, not only it's not necessary only to defend one's standing in war or conflict. It's necessary sometimes in a courtroom to defend your standing. That's why it's helpful to have documents showing that you have severed yourself from the corporate government, I'm going to call it. Does everyone here know the difference between human rights and civil rights and unalienable rights? Anyone want to take a stab at it?
I was going to say, yeah, to speak up. Part of me wants to say I don't, and I should, or I could. And I mean, I understand the language and the words and the seriousness of it, but yeah, I mean, in the sense of, yeah, like I mentioned, earlier about empowerment, that certainly knowing these is very empowering in us and can help us to feel more comfortable, in our own skin individually, but also collectively. But yeah, so I guess I would give a vote for if you feel like distinguishing. Um, Civil, you said civil,
Human
inalienable,
rights, civil
and human
rights, and
rights.
inalienable rights.
Okay. And I know inalienable is that can't be, it's a innate rights that we're born into that kind of realm.
These are
And
considered the God-given rights, yes.
yeah.
Yes. That because they're God-given, no one can take them away from you. Only he who gave can taketh away. So the God-given rights are secure, but human rights and civil rights are not so secure. And let me see, I think there's another document I would like to pull up. Does anyone else want to take a stab at their understanding of the difference of all these different rights? We've established already inalienable rights or unalienable rights, depends how you pronounce it. All right, silence is compelling me to move forward and find the document. Let's see. I'm not sure that they're still here. Something.
So civil, human, and inalienable. And
Yes.
so civil, I mean, in the sense that just to share, I guess it sounds like a little bit more of like a uh intentional right in the sense of maybe to be a little flippant here, but yeah, intentional in the sense of a accomplishment or establishment based in or around the rights, their civil rights, but in the sense of a kind of progress even. Inalienable would just be like obviously if that's God given, that wouldn't make sense as much for that kind. And then human rights, I don't know what that would be in context.
Boy, I'm really, okay, let me see if my bookmarks are here. Hold please. I think this one is not going to help me. And now see my bookmarks here. I don't know why my bookmarks aren't working and my tabs have been closed. That's really upsetting to me. History. Recently closed tabs. Okay, maybe here.
Well, I can speak about a bit little to clarify that issue of human rights. So we are humans and we have rights. And there are a number of documents that have written up those rights. And in the US, you have the Bill of Human Rights. And there's also some other charters of human rights. I forget what official titles they have. And they are splendid documents. And what they do is they are recognizing the nobility of the human, recognizing aspects of it, us as both material and God created, divine, and we have these rights, and these rights are inalienable. And so that means they are inseparable. They can't be made foreign to us. they are always with us. But what is happening, we see, is that civic rights, rights are laws which are determined by states and governments. They have lovely language. The World Economic Forum is a perfect example of it, of how they are for the greater good or the common good. And they seek to qualify, to limit all these rights. And rights are limited always with a justification. Like in the States, there is the Constitution saying you have a right to carry a gun. But because they can harm people, some people say, no, that right must be taken away. Or the more general human rights, the right to create, the right to freedom, the right to be able to express yourself, the right to be able to support yourself and your family. All these are human rights. But then people are qualifying them and saying, well, you don't have a right to work here or travel here because you're using too much diesel or petrol, and that's damaging the environment. And here we are as a body who are super knowing and compassionate and making the best decisions for the collective. So we're going to limit your rights.
Okay, sorry, Dennis. I'm going to interject some very important distinctions here,
Good.
because I think what you're reciting right now is our typical misunderstanding about those kinds of rights.
Well, okay.
Yes, and so I don't want to further any misunderstanding. I would rather like to bring clarity. The inalienable rights are God-given. They cannot be taken away by any legislation or anybody's opinion or any happenstance. Those are your God-given rights. They are with you for life, life after life. Human rights, however, inalienable rights, belong to living men and women. And this is the important part I didn't mention earlier. This is the reason you declare your sovereignty, because it establishes that you are not among the dead or the dead fictions that they create out of your name. They, the government, corporations. You are not among the dead. You are declaring, when you declare your sovereignty, you are declaring that you are returned. You're not lost at sea. You're a living flesh and blood man and woman, or woman. And that is the departure point from which you can reclaim your freedom, which all the freedoms which have been taken from you without your awareness. So living men and women have the God-given rights. Below the living men and women are humans. And humans are the ones who have human rights and who accept titles, as in British titles such as Mr., which is actually, you'll find this interesting, the rank of a British midshipman in the Navy, and Mrs., a midshipman's wife, and mayor and governor, and judge and lieutenant, and captain and general. Those are all titles. That is a British system of titles. That means if you accept a title, I guess you are acknowledging that you are human. And I can only, and this is probably according to Black's Law Dictionary. I think that's very important to establish, because this is their system. They create the terms, they create the definitions for the terms. And this is not that I'm not saying I believe we're not humans, because we have been, as a genus, identified as human beings. But in their laws, humans have only human rights. They don't have the inalienable rights. And when you go further and you look at civil rights, only slaves have civil rights. The civil rights are owed to Black Americans. In this country, anyway, the civil rights are owed to Black Americans who were already carrying the burden of federal citizenship. And civil rights are privileges rather than rights, actually. They're privileges conferred by Congress, and they can be taken away by Congress. And so that would be where opinions being expressed about whether or not we should retain the rights under the Second Amendment, I guess, that would be an argument that would come under the aegis of civil rights. What other rights? I don't know. It's hard for me to think maybe on the spot while I'm on camera, but what other rights can you think of that we maybe had at one point that we don't have now? Maybe the right for bodily autonomy, not receiving something internally that in order to be employable. Yes, Joe, you have your hand up, please.
Yeah, I was going to say now it gets, I don't even want to use the word interesting, but very kind of like in your face and relevant if you talk about the negation, what you just brought up, right? In the sense of the rights and then if we're losing ground, right? You mentioned, I don't know what you were saying, but it was beautiful. And you're mentioning land earlier, but in that way, my mind goes to that of we're losing ground then technically, right? So, in the sense that if there are rights that are being turned into mist, if there are rights that are kind of pulling a vanishing act. And that's why I guess you could say the seriousness of this topic on the rights, in the sense that it technically does apply to everybody possible. And that if it's possible, for us, is it possible to betray these? Is it possible to mistake, have a mistake in there in that foundation? We could say preferably, obviously, only intellectually, meaning that it doesn't have a consequence. That's in real life. But yeah, I guess just to share my concern naturally as a world citizen. But yeah, yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, I don't watch the news, so to be honest, to be fair, I don't have that kind of eye, right now of the whole world. But I definitely care, about everybody. And it's a one way of showing that love, isn't it? Thinking this way about rights and such. So yeah, anyways, just wanted to say something. Yeah.
Thank you. And while you were speaking, I realized that one of the inalienable rights we have is to travel unhindered, uninterfered with. As long as we cause no harm to others or to their property, we have the right to travel and move about freely and do according to our free will on this earth. But what has the establishment done with our right to travel but required us to have a license in order to travel, in order to drive a car from here to there? A license, I have learned in recent years, is only required to do something which is illegal. Why would our states require a driver's license then? What are we doing that's illegal? And so the act of driving on the road is licensed for commercial purposes. So truckers, taxis, maybe bus drivers, they would rightfully need a license to drive and conduct commerce and business on the roads. But Dr. Joe Vertino driving to the grocery store, going on vacation with his family, he's not conducting commerce and therefore should not require a license. But we don't know that. We go and we get the license, and what happens? We have a license for conducting commerce, but we're not conducting commerce. And that means that we are, what's the word? We are committing perjury. Unknowingly, we're committing perjury. Now, they could turn that and use it as a trap at some point. And I'm not really certain, maybe they do. When they issue us citations for speeding or for running a red light or parking too long in a spot, maybe this is where the license comes in handy for them, because they have a record of your fictional name that they are using in commerce. So they write you a traffic citation in your all caps name, and this is what they call the straw man, right? And this is not how we write our names among the living. This is only how they write names for dead people in all capital letters. And because they have turned you from a living baby via your birth certificate, via your social security number, because they've taken a living baby and turned you into a fictional entity, a corporate fictional entity that they can profit off of your entire life. And if you don't wish to have anyone profit off of you and your body, I would seriously recommend that you correct your political status, they call it, in the public record, for starters, and learn more about all of these distinctions and how they commit crimes against us in our names. I mean, basically, we were trafficked from the land jurisdiction into the jurisdiction of the sea. And we didn't know that happened. Our parents didn't know they were doing that. And they take advantage of that, the full advantage of that, with every step of the way, which is how they imposed mandates on us in order to maintain employment during the COVID era. It's very heavy, very important stuff. And people aren't really aware how they've been converted. Basically, they've converted into human chattel. Oh, there's another statement here that I wanted to read, actually. Yes, because the birth certificate is a process of registering people as human chattel, and then they issue bonds for sale based on our estimated worth. For example, did you all know that the Pope takes an amount of gold equal to your birth weight and invests it in a trust? And this trust is traded on the stock markets of the world. And the older you are, the more you're worth. And you can actually look up your value in a Treasury Direct account, which is tied into your Social Security number. On the Social Security card and on the birth certificate, there's an additional number either in red or black on the back, and that is your access to find out how much you're worth to them in your Treasury Direct account. These are unconscionable contracts that they profit off of. Anyway, does anyone have any questions? I don't want to, I mean, I could.
Hi.
Hi, Amira.
Hey, yeah. So is it when you're older, you're worth more,
Yes, you
or
are.
the weight? Okay.
Well, the
'Cause
gold
if they were
always.
talking about weight, I devalued myself 65 pounds. Anyway, question is,
Oh, no.
they,
It's only your birth weight that matters. And then that gold is
oh,
invested. And of course, as you've seen over history, the gold value goes up and up and up because they
and
manipulate.
I didn't know about birth certificates. And then, the state registered me when I was born, not my mom or anything. But anyways, question, when
Actually,
you,
Amira, our mothers are, and in some of the older birth
Well, she
certificates,
signed it.
they signed they signed your birth record. Your mother signs your birth
Yeah,
record. And
sorry.
your birth record is submitted to the state vital records
Yep.
department, and they make a birth certificate out of that, or a certificate of live birth, or both. Actually, they're not the same. So your mother is oftentimes the mother is referred to as an informant instead of as a mother, and they don't have both parents do it because they would rather consider that you are the offspring of a single mother, not a wedded mother.
Okay. Now, what about they're saying there's children that are made and trafficked, they don't ever have a birth certificate or they can't be tracked. So is it good if somebody has a birth certificate or bad if they don't have a because I'm kind of confused, like a catch-22.
Well, the thing about the children that are born into the child trafficking industry is they won't be missed if they don't have a birth certificate and you can't identify who they belong to. Then nobody's looking for them, and they can conduct their business in total secrecy.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the birth certificate, I mean, I suppose that's the one bright side to having a birth certificate is that you can be identified. But basically, the birth certificate is saying that you are chattel, you belong to the state, you are a ward of the state. They have claimed
Where do
you.
you get all this dark information? Like
This,
I was
well,
shocked about what we were talking about on Wednesday, and
yeah. I mean, I have done a lot of reading. There's a lot of information about the birth certificate fraud. The birth certificate fraud and the driver's license fraud. And there's a lot of information about that
Oh
on the
yeah, it
internet.
used to be so easy to drive and so easier to travel and everything, and now they want to make that you have to be like in the EU, you have to have your finger biometrics. There's so many things that they want to do. Another thing is that hold on now. I don't think like my grandparents were probably not born in a hospital. My dad was not born in America, so I don't think people that were born in the 20s, it depends, probably even had a birth certificate or anything like that. Probably a record, but not like how you're explaining.
The birth certificate was officially created in 1933.
Oh,
Before that, everybody recorded, not registered, they recorded the birth of their
recorded.
children in the Bible.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they usually kept a record of that in the family Bible.
Because there's some people from different countries that have birth certificates and are born in the 50s. There's some that don't. So
Some
it
countries
depends.
don't issue birth certificates. That's true. Some countries don't issue them.
Yeah. So who knows?
Well, but a certificate is a bond, so that is the way that they make money. One of the ways, one of the many, many ways they make money off of each
I
baby.
would not doubt that for 1 second. I wouldn't.
Okay, now I know Amira just joined us, but and Francesca, do you want to say anything, or Seth, or you happy just absorbing? Because what I'm thinking is that we could take a 10-minute, potty break or coffee break or whatever, and we can return with thoughts and fresh minds in 10 minutes. How would that be for everybody?
That's great. I'd like to sit and absorb because I think you're a good host and you just have a lot of good. It's dark and deep, but we got to be made aware. So, you know what I mean? So I could talk to you for hours.
It's our world. We gotta shine our lights, and we can shine
Right,
brighter if we
exactly.
know how dark it is. I think maybe.
I
But
know, right.
I'm sorry, Seth. Amira, 1 second. Seth, you had your
Go ahead.
unmuted. You wanted to say something, perhaps,
Oh
before we
yeah,
break.
this is all, thanks. This is all very interesting, but not exactly my lane. I love absorbing it, like you said. Yes. Very cool conversation though. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Seth. Well,
Yeah.
and when we reconvene, of course, anytime anyone has a thought they just can't contain any longer, please just raise your hand, and I will see you and call on you as soon as possible. So let's take a 10-minute break and reconvene shortly. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we are officially back from our 10-minute break. Welcome back, everyone. And I was just asking the group if they had any burning thoughts they wanted to share. If not, I might do a musical interlude just to kind of freshen up the air a little bit. I invite anyone to speak now if they have a desire. Okay. All right, well, I am looking for my music. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Seth, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. I've done of all the steps that I possibly could, and now I'm going to hit play, and you're going to tell me if it's working.
Yeah. I guess the key is share.
Can everybody hear that?
Yep. It works just fine.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Very nice, of course.
Okay, and that ends our musical meditation. That's a shameless self-promotion, maybe. Not really trying to promote myself, but that is my recording that I made back in 2000. That was the Johannes Brahms Clarinet Concerto, number 2 in E flat major, Opus 120. One of my favorite composers, anyway. So thank you, everybody. I hope that helped to, I don't know, clear the air, lift the mood, add some light, and rootin' tootin' flutin'. Thank you, Seth.
Yes, the best compliment I could come up with. That was very nice. Thank you.
I'll take it. Thank you. Ah, your favorite instrument is piano. Yeah, we've talked
Yeah,
about that
my
before,
favorite.
haven't
I
we?
love the piano. That was wonderful, beautiful. The flute, and yeah, I like Chopin's my favorite composer. But I love the piano. I always loved piano. I used to play it years ago.
There's only one flute piece by Chopin that I know of, maybe 2. He didn't really write for us. He wrote for the piano beautifully, though. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So does anyone have anything they want to talk about? Because there are a few other things I can say. Francesca was asking about the enslavement of humanity, and I can talk a little bit about that historically speaking. But if anyone has something they want to share first, by all means, share away.
I did have a question. It's for Amira and Emily mostly, maybe Dennis. I can't figure out how to get to our um, messaging group on Facebook, the one that Emily told me is called Saturday and Sunday. I just don't see it. I have reached out to
You've
Soma in case it's an invitation issue or something. I don't know, but
I thought I saw that she sent you an invitation. Have you
no.
typed in Saturdays and Sundays in the search bar
I
for
guess that's the one thing I
chat groups?
haven't tried. So,
Yeah,
and
try
you
that.
saw that she, okay, then I
See
think
if
I'm
that
on,
works. Yeah.
okay, I think I'm on course then, and I'll leave it at that. Let's move on.
Okay.
Thank
All right. All right. Thank you. Anyone else want to interject anything? Okay, then. Well, if you think of some, oh, sorry about the dog. Okay, somebody's passing by, obviously. So Francesca was asking about the enslavement of humanity, and it has, I mean, in previous events with Soma, she has shared that at the time that Atlantis fell, a covenant or a contract was entered into with the negative aliens. I'm assuming reptilians. I can't remember honestly. But a contract was entered into, which gave them control over humanity in exchange for technology. And I know of a few instances in history that reasserted humanity's enslavement. Oh, okay. Dennis, Francesca, well, in a moment, but Francesca asked if anyone could channel information about humanity's enslavement. What was your question, Francesca? Let me just go there and see. Her question was, She would like a channeled opinion on the enslavement of the human race. Who is behind it? Why is it permitted? What happens if we don't get out of it soon? That's on the group chat, Dennis, if you want to refer to that, if you want to, think about whether or not you would like to answer that question, channel the answer to that question for us. Just let me know what you decide. Let us know what you decide. In the meantime, while Dennis is contemplating, I happen to know that in the Papal Bull of 1302, the very last sentence, and what was that Pope's name? I don't know if he was another Pope Benedict. I don't know what he was, but the very last sentence of the Papal Bull of 1302 enslaves the entire world of humanity, in case we didn't know that we were already slaves before that. He announced it in that document. And then another time in history, in 1666, there was a great fire of London, and I believe the purpose of this fire was to destroy all the birth records of all the living people. And King Henry VIII would have been in charge of the proclamation, which declared all human souls dead and lost at sea, unless they could show otherwise. Or so, in this is probably where the idea to declare your status as a living man or woman comes from, because in that case, in response to this proclamation of King Henry VIII, I don't know what is officially called. I mean, it is referred to often as the Sette Cavi Act, which is the Proof of Life Act, translated. So that is what declaring your sovereignty is all about. It's about proving that you are a living being, and not their presumed dead entity, fictional entity. And then, of course, there were things like the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913. Before this point, people could own land. They were landowners. And after that point, they converted you from a landowner to a tenant in all cases. And I don't think most people knew anything about that. So when you buy a house and you have mortgage documents, it most often, or in the deed, for example, most often it will refer to you not as an owner of the property, but probably as a leaser or something. I don't know. My deed actually did refer to me as the sole owner. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened, but I'm told that's very unusual. And most deeds and deeds of trust acknowledge the, I'm going to say the mortgage company, and then sometimes the mortgage company has been substituted for the something called MERS, which is just a mortgage recordation service. Sometimes they claim ownership, and then there sometimes are, beyond MERS, there would be a holder of the note declaring that they're the owners, the true owners. That's how they get to, as in my case, come and take your house away from you, because they have a claim. It's an unsubstantiated claim, but they don't allow you in the courts to prove ownership. I think that would be, since they have all these acts that they've done through the corporate government, their presumptions, their presumptions remain intact until you challenge them, I guess is what I would say. They remain intact until you challenge them. And that is a significantly important reason for declaring your sovereignty on the public record. Does that answer some of your question, Francesca? There are remedies for the enslavement of humanity. One of the things I did, for example, was to have an at-home birth for my daughter, so that they would not be able to inject her with things I didn't agree to, so that she wouldn't be subjected to a lot of loud noise and harsh lights. But I had no idea then about the birth certificate. So sadly, I did get a birth certificate for her, but I have corrected that mistake when I declared my status as a living woman on the land and soil. So there are remedies. There are many, many more than I have alluded to so far. But do you have any more questions about that, Francesca? Are you there? You are muted, so if you're speaking, we can't hear you. And then while we wait to hear from Francesca, Dennis, what do you think? You want to try a little channeling? Mr. Mulcahy, are you there? Earth to Dennis.
Hello, I am
Hello.
here.
Fantastic.
I can't comment on too much at all because I was busy for much of that time. Just the nature of things. My dad sometimes needs a good deal of attention, but all fine.
Okay, well, so you probably, do you know what I had asked earlier based on
No,
Francesca's question?
no, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, okay, so Francesca was asking if we could get a channeled opinion on the enslavement of the human race. Who is behind it? Why is it permitted? And what happens if we don't get out of it soon?
Oh, is that all Francesca wants to know?
That's all. Just a little question there.
I see. Hmm.
No stress, she says. That's very lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I can give something on that. And how's your knee?
I went through some really uncomfortable pain. When did you work on it?
Maybe about 6 o'clock, maybe.
Let's see, 6 - 5. Yeah, around, yeah, for a couple hours I was having some really intense pain. Is that part of the clearing?
It can be, yes. And that knee is going to feel more comfortable,
Okay, awesome.
So where it goes, we'll see, but it's definitely going to feel more comfortable. All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you.
So give me that question again. I think I kind of have it, but just give it to me
Yeah.
again.
Okay. Can you comment, can you get a channeled opinion on the enslavement of the human race? Who is behind it? Why is it permitted? And what happens if we don't get out of it soon?
Francesca, you have a difficult question. And what is difficult about it is not the answer, but what is difficult is the thoughts and emotions that we have with this situation. You, Francesca, you were there before it all began. You were there before Earth. Francesca, you were there before there was matter. You were there before there was time. And Francesca, this is part of your idea. This whole thing, Francesca, all of creation, this is part of your idea because you are part of Source. And so you decided, well, wouldn't it be interesting to have experience of not just being one, but being other? Wouldn't it be interesting to have experience of not being light, but of being dark. Wouldn't it be interesting to have an experience of having risk, of being able to maybe play a game and we could win? And even more interesting, we could lose because we don't know what that is like. So there is a long process of creation, of separation, to create more experience, to gain more skills, to have more challenge. And all of this expands the source of all, which you are part of. So, source, and you can call it the all that is, or Mother God, or Father God, is expanding in this creation, in this experiment, continues to expand. God continues to grow. God continues to grow in love. God continues to grow in consciousness. How is that possible? Because you do. Because you grow in your suffering and pain, you increase your empathy, you increase your understanding, you grow in love. And you have been doing this for eons. And here we are on planet Earth. And this is a challenging place. And somewhere the game got rigged. Someone agreed to games, someone agreed to rules. And this involved other star people and star systems who, like you, are also fractals of source. And agreements were made on how the game was to be played, and then someone broke the rules. And after breaking the rules, then they fixed those broken rules into place. And you can see that. You can see that something has gone a bit wrong. Well, okay. You have seen wrong before. Not only have you seen wrong before, God has seen wrong before, you have seen wrong before. You have done wrong before. You have created wrong before. And here you have decided to come back into this place, Earth. Why have you come here? Because it's so beautiful? No. No. You have come to untangle. You have come to bring your light. You have come to bring service. You have come to put this place right. Because you, Francesca, are responsible for creating the whole damn thing. And so are you, Seth, and so are you, Emily, and Amira, and Dennis. So here we are. Here we are. We're part of the God plan. These things are not right here. And they're not right because we've created in this way or allowed them to be. And now we go, no, we want to change it. And so we're here to change it. And we will change it. And it mightn't happen today, but there is change happening today. And it mightn't happen next year. It mightn't even happen while you are in this body, but change is happening. Super quick change, change that the cosmos rarely sees. A speed of change is happening here. It's happening in this place called Earth. And you are part of that change that is happening now. And you will continue to be part of the change that is coming. Not just an observer of it, but by your energy, by your presence, by your intention, by your service, you are adding to this energy of change. You are stabilizing some of the chaos. You are banishing some of the evil. You are untangling the confusion. So here you are. This is your show. You are not victims. There is no one to blame. Oh, that may be difficult to understand, but the message in this is a positive one. You are here for good reason. A good result is coming. Though in the process, some of the change that is coming will bring confusion, will bring uncertainty, will bring despair and consternation. But it is a birthing process. Something new is coming, something better is coming, and it is coming because you are here. There are many parts to this of who has fixed the rules, who is acting in bad ways with bad intention, who is acting out their own trauma and their own blindness to act in such a way against universe, cosmos, and source. And yet they are in this way. So the thing is being untangled. And what is happening is not a restoration of what was. That is not what is happening. If you are going to get on your knees beside your bed and say, Holy God, let it be as it was, you will be saddened because that's not what's happening. What is coming is what has not been, or at least what has not been for eons. It is something different. It is something better. There is going to be peace. Not sometimes, not somewhere, there will be peace. And that is just a beginning. That is not an end point. That is a beginning point. Peace will be a beginning point of what will be created. So there you are. There is a channeled message where I connect with spirit and with other fractals of source that are in my collection or family. It is interesting. But what is happening is there has been a challenge here. There has been a fixedness. There has been a stuckness. There has indeed been much which has been very unpleasant, and it still exists. And this is not the way it should be. It is being untangled. Who is it being untangled for and by? You, us. And there are many who are giving some assistance by doing what is in their realm to do. But be very clear that the big push must come from the collective of humans on Earth. That is how it must be. That is what you have agreed to for good reason. I will leave it there. There might be some questions, but that is something of what the hell is going on here, and why are you here, and what is taking place, and what is coming. There you are.
Thank you, Dennis. Amazing. Francesca, what do you think? Anybody? Welcome, Dia, by the way. Took you long enough. Yes, thank you, Dennis. That's Francesca in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, that was truth for sure. We made it. We need to unravel it. I think declaring your sovereignty is one really good step to unraveling it. If we can all separate ourselves from the evil entities and stand in our light and truth and on the land, we will be making great strides forward. Reclaiming freedom.
Yes.
Would anyone else like to share thoughts on this or introduce a new topic? I
But
think
like that, something I would say is how this is done. There are a multitude of ways, and you speak of people acknowledging and addressing their sovereignty. It is certainly a way, and there are many ways, and that needs to be respected. But also, interestingly, I would point out to you that your playing of music is significantly important in this game. So there you are, just to have a look at different ways that can be done. So by all of you and all of us and Dennis exercising not just your skills, but your passions, by finding ways to live your life and find joy and share that, and being able to create and express beauty. All of these are tremendously important to changing the frequency, to making a difference in the game, to bringing about the result that we want. Very significant. So
are you
that's
nudging me? Are you nudging me, Dennis?
nudging you very strongly. And there is a bunch of angels with me, just nudging you.
Alrighty. Message received, loud and clear.
Right, right.
You know, I was just thinking, it's true. You pay for your house, you bought it. It doesn't matter if it's $100,000 or $1 million. You put all the effort into it, but you still have to pay taxes, property tax. You never own the land. And I'm thinking, you never really own your house. You never own your car. You have to pay taxes on it
Yeah,
unless the car is bought out. But like with the home, if you don't pay a property tax, they could take it away. You don't really own anything when we should own.
let's clarify. That's in their system because
Right, right.
you had to register the purchase of your house or register your car. Every time you register something, you are giving away ownership of that thing to another entity, usually the Crown Corporation, the Temple Bar and the Crown. Um, so
Hmm.
they claim ownership. But if you don't register these things,
That's what I say.
if you don't register your child with the state, if you don't register your car, if you don't, if you record in a land recording office that you purchased a property, um, that is different than a registration with the county clerk, or the land and what is it called? Whatever is the office in your county that registers properties. Um, and if you don't register your property with the county court, they won't have a
Yeah.
record. They won't have a record of property tax due. Um, and
Yeah, but how do you get away with buying like a house or property without having to register it? How do
uh,
you get away with not having to register your child? Like, how do you get away with it?
well,
Because
you have
everything,
you have an at-home birth for one is one way not to register your child. To start writing it down in the Bible again, like they did in the old fashioned in the old days. But
okay,
if you don't register your car, you face some challenges because if the
that's
police stop you and ticket you for
right. And you have to
non-registration,
have insurance
you have
too
to
and all this.
hang on. But if yeah, but you have to be able to you have to be able to defend your standing. Now, if you are in our country, when they issued the birth certificate, they have converted our standing to that of a U.S. citizen, and a U.S. citizen is actually a British subject. It's the British never really let go of the
Hmm.
United States, the Union. So they claimed this territory as part of their British Empire, and all of us they made their subjects, which is the most important reason to declare your sovereignty, to change your political status. And I didn't do it today, but I can share websites um, for you to do that process, and become the American you were born to be. It also works. There are many people in many different countries that are achieving this. There are a lot of people in the UK are doing it. They can change their status through the same website that I will post.
Hmm.
Anywhere in the world, you can change your status through that website. It's just a question of, does your country or your county have an assembly? And that we do in the United States. We have all 50 states have an assembly,
Yeah.
which is the Republican form of government we were given when we declared our independence from the king.
Hmm.
That we are supposed to function through assemblies, both state assemblies and county assemblies.
Hmm.
And so I can provide information on that outside of the parameters of this meeting, and
Right.
that is an important thing to do. But just because I've declared my corrected, I should say, corrected my political status and declared my sovereignty, doesn't mean I don't still have to fight for freedom. Because if they give me
Right.
a traffic citation, I have to know how to address that, how to tell them their laws don't apply to me, and how to make that stick.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because let's face it, the corporate United States statutory laws are being misapplied to the American general population.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a parallel situation in the UK, not UK, in Ireland. I think everybody else here is from the States, and yeah, you have to know how to defend your status as a living woman or living man. And that has been a long process for me. I've been reading about our true history. I've been reading about the system, the fraud that they've gotten away with for so long. I've been reading about that for 5 years, and I know a lot, but I am far from an expert. There's so much yet to know, and it's not been easy. I mean, they when they stole my house, they they
Jeez.
they stole it at gunpoint. There were three constables.
Why'd they do that?
There were three constables and four
Oh.
Baltimore County police officers who came. Of course, they were all armed because they go about their jobs doing, with their guns in their holsters.
Oh.
So anyway, so it's basically armed robbery, and the state stole my house. They stole my house on the presumption that I owed money on it. But
What?
um, when you enter into a mortgage contract, it's not really it's a unilateral contract. It's a one-sided contract because yours is the only signature there during the settlement. You're the only one there to make a signature. The representative from the bank signs later. And so and here's the other thing that people don't generally know is that banks don't have money to lend. Banks cannot lend money. Mortgage companies are calling themselves banks. They don't have money to lend either. We haven't had money in this country since 1933. And that was by House Joint Resolution 192. And they took all the gold and silver that all the Americans had at that time and issued them paper, which is a fiat currency, which is not real money. It's in defiance of what's written in the Constitution. And so we haven't had any real money since the 30s, which means we don't have any way of paying our debts. So there has to be a remedy for that. And there is, but they never implemented it. So when you can't pay your debt, the state assumes that they have a right to take your property. That's how that happens. So, and I think a lot of the COVID fiasco, the fallout from not being willing to comply was potentially losing your job, not being able to find another one, and then not being able to pay these so-called mortgages. And then obviously if this is their justification for seizing property. It's piracy. It's theft. It's armed robbery. It's a violation. It's even in the Constitution. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Maybe that's not the Constitution. Maybe that's the Declaration of Independence. Everyone has that right, and there are certain things that you need in order to pursue happiness and life and liberty. And one of those things is shelter. And the fact of the matter is actually that, and this is a very important point of distinction. Corporations exist only on paper. If you want to incorporate your private business, you fill out an application basically, you submit it with a fee. Maybe the fee is $500, maybe the fee is $25. You submit it to the Secretary of State's office. Boom, you have incorporated. It's a piece of paper in an office, recorded in an office. Tell me, how does a piece of paper own property? How do they have a right to own property? So in this very real world, only living men and women can own property. And that's a huge thing to come to realize. The state, as a corporation, as a corporate entity, cannot own any of this land. It belongs to the people. But you're not considered a people, you're not considered one of the people if you're a US citizen. You are considered a British subject. In this country, in America, what made us different is that we are not born with citizenship obligations like they are in other countries. We don't have any citizenship obligations. We are born as state nationals. We have a nationality. We don't have citizenship obligations, but we do have responsibility to be our own, government services providers, basically. We just don't have that structure fully in place yet. But the American government is back because there are enough of us. We have, in our case, we have assemblies in all 50 states. And the American government has officially been standing since 5 years ago. And we have gotten recognition from the International Courts of Justice in The Hague. I'm waiting for the minute order so that we can actually show that the court recognizes the true American government, and that the Trump administration is not the true American government. FYI for anybody who wanted to know. So there's a huge disconnect there between the corporate government and the people's government.
So who is really the government? And
We,
another thing is,
we the declared
COVID.
Americans, we the declared Americans are the real government.
Oh, okay. Now with COVID, that was the catalyst to drive everything. People lost jobs. People also, I think it was an agenda to get as many people off the earth, if you know what I'm saying. They started with the elderly and the sick. Also, where you can't go, a lot of people, it drove people mad. And also then the prices for food, rent, utilities, everything has
That was
gone
their
so
excuse
high.
to manipulate the economy. Yeah. You know, they
Yeah,
have,
it was to do it. And now there are more vacant houses than there are homeless people in the United States. But it's all these big management companies and corporations that buy these houses or apartment buildings, and they renovate them and they jack up the prices. There's
yes.
hardly any, or it's going to be
Well,
hardly
they
any
don't, because they don't want you to
independent
be,
land.
they
Huh?
don't want you to be a land, yeah, they don't want you to be a property owner.
They don't want you to
They
be a
want to
property.
force
No.
you into the cities, but I think their plan is losing traction. And yeah, that was part of their
Good.
plan. Yeah, that was part of their plan for sure. But
Yeah.
they are facing some serious challenges now. So anyway, if you want to be a landowner before we're finished getting evil off the earth, and you want to correct your political status and not be a British subject, I will share that information later.
I don't know, Emily, if you heard that in the state of Florida, I think they're voting on it, or it's being pushed through, but big corporations are no longer allowed to buy land in Florida. It can only be regular folk who want to buy a house.
Just big corporations, or any corporation, any LLC, any
Yeah,
corporate
they
structure.
cannot buy, right. It's only individual, I think the wording is individual people can buy land in Florida. They're pushing that through.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But still, that's coming through the state government, which is not the people. It's not coming from the Florida Assembly, from Florida State. There's a difference between Florida State and the state of Florida. The state of Florida is a corporate entity making man-made laws. So the whole thing about the return of the American government is we are trying to restore the government that our founding fathers fought so hard for, that we fought a war of independence for, and a revolution to sustain, our independence from any monarchy or other authority other than God. I mean, this country was founded under God, and on the Bill of Rights are basically the Ten Commandments, you know.
So are you saying then that it's a useless thing they're doing, or it's
I
a
don't know.
step in the direction?
I think it's probably. I mean, they're going through the motions. It's meant to. It's probably. Wouldn't you think it's part of the awakening, part of disclosure, in a way? I mean, it's. I don't know when or if these corporate government structures are going to be, exposed for what they really are. I don't know when exactly the return of the American government will be shown to the people who live in this country. I don't know when it will be shown that, the Congress in Washington D.C. is only a governing board of the corporate United States. That it's not a government that should have, and it's not it's a foreign entity. It's a foreign entity in a foreign territory that has nothing to do with the domestic states of the Union. Not only that, we don't even know that each state is its own nation anymore. Just like, in the European Union, each country is its own sovereign country. But when they called changed our name. I mean, I think our name the name of the union used to be referred to as the small case U, United Capital States of America, capital A, capital S, capital A, but small case U. So in a small case U, the word united is an adjective. It's not a noun. And then it was converted into a noun, the United States of America, all caps, on the first letters. Somehow became a one country, but we are an entity of 50 nations. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, absolutely interesting. I mean, I've been following a little bit of this. I just don't have the capacity to understand it the way you do.
Well, man, it's been it's been a mind bender for 5 years for me. It's been so much to learn and wrap my head around. It's not easy to come to grips with all the fraud that's been perpetrated against us and other crimes. But it's fundamentally, it's all fraud, the way that they run things, and make us, feel dependent on them for direction and for decisions and for laws and things like that. We're not. I mean, we live under God's law. That's it. It's very simple. They have made it very complicated.
Right. I know when I was looking into the languaging of it, it's like, I am woman, Dennis is man. It's none of these titles with officer and banker and doctor.
We covered the title system is a British system, and there are secret meanings to all of it. Anyway, I just want to say I had hoped to wrap everything up after 2 hours. It's been 2 hours and 5 minutes now, for those who started at the beginning. And I do want to open the floor for comments or ideas or feedback or whatever you want to say before we close. But I would like to focus on wrapping it up right now, if that's okay with everybody. Even if it's not okay with you. Anyway.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right. Okay. Seth, you good? Are you there, Seth? Calling Earth to Seth? How about Francesca? Are you there? Dennis, you feel complete?
I'm good. Thank you for
Okay,
asking.
Seth, wonderful. All right. Well, it was a really fun experiment. My first time being host of any kind of event or podcast.
You did outstandingly well. I've been to
Yeah,
lots of
you did.
group meetups, meetings lately, and some people cannot hold a room. And yeah, you did
Okay.
amazing.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Well, we'll do it again tomorrow, those of you who want to, and hopefully it'll be just as stimulating. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful remainder of your Valentine's Day, and love to everybody. Thank you, Dennis,
love and
for
light.
your contributions. That was awesome.
Great.
And all right.
All right.
Then, everybody.
Okay.
See
Bye
you
bye
tomorrow
now.
at 2 on standard Eastern time, 2 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Irish time. All right. Very good. Bye-bye, everyone.